It's a real regime almost.
Oh, hell no.
They're talking about me.
All I needed was one ball.
The science of training.
And I know you don't think it's a sport. How do you feel about the state of bodybuilding right now? Like, do you follow the industry and actually like the actual, bodybuilders and, the standings and everything,
Yeah, I mean, I do follow it, not as closely as like super fans, but I definitely follow it.
Do you have favorite bodybuilders of all time? Like, if you have to pick like your 5 top bodybuilders that you admire?
It's hard to choose, because now that I'm kind of entering this competitive mode, I'm finding bodybuilders that I didn't really have an eye for in the past, and now I see these guys. I'm like, oh, well, I see something special about this guy, especially when you're studying like posing routines and stuff. It's something you'd never really have to do unless you're going to step on stage for the most part. And then you're like, oh, Lee Labrada. He wasn't the biggest guy. He never won an Olympia, but he was one of the best posers of all time. And now it's something I didn't really know about until now. I have a need for learning more about posing. You're like, oh, now you're looking at this guy. He's amazing. Or even Andreas Munzer, for example, like everyone always knows he's like Mr. Shreds. But have you ever actually watched him pose? He's really good at posing too. He's an amazing poser. And it's like these things about these athletes I never saw before. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to just give you like a top 5, other than maybe Ronnie Coleman, just because something about just having a positive attitude in hell, in Metroflex gym prepping is just an amazing thing. And then Jay Cutler, of course, for accomplishing all that stuff, his business, and he's just the best ambassador the sport could ever have. But I like a lot of them, man. I like so many of them. And they're all unique in their own ways, but also just noticing the things about a lot of them that I didn't notice before until I got into this level of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Now, your upcoming debut in bodybuilding is I'll be honest with you, it's very highly anticipated. A lot of people want to see what you bring to the stage. Do you feel like pressure going into this contest?
Oh God, yes. Yeah, hell yeah. I think it's part of me feels like it's a little unfair because all these people are like putting me on such a high pedestal. I've never even stepped on a stage. I've never competed, and all these people have these really super high expectations for me. But at the same time, I got to flip that around and be like, well, dude, it's a privilege, like to have people have this high expectation of me because I'm someone that's never even competed. And all these people are following me, like cheering me on, encouraging me, and have high expectations for me. So I'm like a nobody in bodybuilding, coming into this with this much of a these people. Like it's just okay. So I'm grateful for that, but at the same time, yeah, there's a lot of pressure because they have really high expectations of me. They're expecting some crazy posing routine like Kai Green. I'm like, guys, I can't move like that guy. You know what I mean? It's not fair to compare me to him. It's not fair me to pros. I've never competed against these guys, so I think a lot of the comparisons are unfair and unrealistic. But at the same time, it's very flattering,
Well, people expecting probably some crazy posing routine from you. I mean, they definitely want to see something different. You know what I mean? Like, because you're you. You know what I mean? That's what you're known for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, what can you give us any information about your posing routine? Do you plan to do like a flip or something, or what?
I mean, I'll probably just do a flip. Yeah.
Be careful, man.
The number one request. I hope the floor isn't slippery. So I need to decide whether to put it at the beginning of the routine, the middle, or just at the end, or right when I walk out. I'll figure that one out. But I don't know how hype I'm going to be, how depleted I'm going to be, or how much energy I'm going to have. I don't even really know what to expect my energy levels, but I'll see how it goes. But it's part of my plan right now because there's too many people asking me to do it. It's just like it's just a posing routine. You know what I mean? It's not prejudging or anything where you're actually judged on your score. The posing routine is just for the athlete and for the fan. So I should be able to do something, like that. Do you agree?
Oh, of course I agree. I mean, but I actually heard, I don't know if it's 100% or not 100%, but I heard that they banned the flipping on stage.
I heard the same thing. I read very closely. It looks like it's banned in prejudging.
Oh, I see. But then, okay, I see what you're saying.
Why would you do a flip in prejudging? They're not going to call for that. It's just like, why did he do it? Where they're doing their mandatories, just does a flip. It's like, okay, yeah. I think it's
Right.
a free posing routine. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think they banned it for, I think it was somebody actually died doing a flip. That was years ago. It was a
Yeah,
very
no,
sad situation. Yeah.
They also there's one pose that's banned. It's called the moon pose. Have you heard of that one?
What's that?
You just bend over.
Oh man.
Tom Platz used to do it to show off his hamstring development because he had really striated, dry hamstrings. So he just bend over and touch the floor with his ass facing the audience while they banned it. You know what I mean? Because you're basically mooning the crowd. So, but
Don't do that one.
yeah, you can't do that one.
But it's interesting. You go into this competition, like even though there's a lot of guys there that competed for years, probably, you definitely have the spotlight on you. It's like when it comes to social media, when you big on social media, it's always going to be a spotlight.
Yeah. So, like I said, I feel very grateful that I have that spotlight on me and I have the support I have because I can reach out to just about anybody that's a top name in the sport and get help if I want. You know what I mean? But there's a little information overload. I'll be real with you. Like, yes, even though I can reach out to all these people to get help, after a while, it's just like it's too much information. There's only so much I can digest here. So, one block at a time. But we'll see how I feel after the competition because I think I have definitely room to grow in the sport. I haven't really dedicated blocks and blocks of training time for hypertrophy specifically from bodybuilding, for muscle building, dedicated exclusively to that back to back ever in my life. I haven't even started growing my legs on purpose until a year and a half ago. That's why a lot of people say, hey, he's got small legs. I kept them intentionally small. I was purposely not training them to get big because that's the worst thing you possibly can have is big legs when you do flips and stuff in the air. So I was only like a year and a half or so ago, I started to do isolation work. It's the first time in my life for legs to help them grow. And I put an inch and a half on them on the quad. So I'm sure, if I continue down that route, I can add another inch or two or three, you know what I mean, in time. So I'm in my mid 30s, and most of the pros I've talked to said I still have many years to grow. So that's encouraging, because you know, acrobatics and stuff, I've already peaked, man. Like I was 26 years old, I peaked. You don't find someone peaking in that sport later in their 30s. That speed stuff goes away quick, but muscle building and strength, that can bloom late and it has a longer trajectory time. So, dude, I'm interested in, progress, results. It's fun. I don't want to get half as good as I used to be at flips and stuff and dedicate a lot of time to that, but I still want to maintain a lot of it because it does make me happy. So yeah, it's kind of a bag I just threw on you right there, but uh,
what if what if you take bodybuilding? What if let's say really want to pursue bodybuilding after doing the show, and you will get, your legs will get bigger, obviously, right? You put them on muscle, then you have to give up the stunts and the flips and everything else, right? Are you ready for that?
I won't have to give up the splits. I can tell you that splits is not dependent on the size of your legs. So like Ronnie Coleman do the splits, for example. Flex Wheeler could do the splits. There's a lot of bodybuilders that can do splits on stage. That is not dictated by muscle size, but actually like jumping and doing aerial maneuvers in the air, yes, because those legs are hard to move around. You know what I mean? So there's only a limited number of moves I would be able to keep if my legs continue to grow. I would still be able to do a backflip, just a basic backflip, which is good because that's the that is the most popular move. Just a straight up backflip. That's what most people expect and want. So cool. Highest return on investment move. I can keep that trick. But there's a lot of other skills that are just going to just have to disappear. But I've had to kind of prune the number of skills because I used to be able to do a ton of skills, man. I was very, very good at tricking, and I've had to just give them up over time due to changes of interest, changes of marketability, as well as age, things getting bigger and stronger. So I've already given up a lot of it already. So yeah, I could give up a little bit more. I'd still be able to keep the backflip and the splits. I know that.
So, do you think how you're gonna place in this upcoming show will determine whether you're gonna continue in bodybuilding or whether it's gonna be your first and last show?
I don't think it's going to be the placing that dictates whether it's going to be my first and last show. I think it's going to be, honestly, just the experience. It's just like, man, that was the experience. Everyone was an asshole. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. The day was not really, it didn't really do well on social media. I didn't like it. If all these things happen, then I'd be like, okay, well, I'll have to think whether I want to do another show or not. But if it's like, wow, that was the coolest thing ever. I made a bunch of social connections. I have room for improvement. I talk to the judges. They think I have, good potential a few years down the road. Dude, I could put in years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Yeah, no problem. You know what I mean? I could put in time and I can wait, but it has to be worth it. You know what I mean? It has to actually and I won't know until after the show. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to place dead last. There's no way. First, no, I don't. I'm not expecting it because I have no idea what's going to show up. The Olympia Amateur is a wild card. The winner in 2019 or 20 was a really big dude. What the, like holy that guy. He was a pro when he walked into it. But there's a few years before that. You look back like, okay, this looks like a little bit weaker competition here. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to get? You don't know.
Right. Well, I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see, obviously how you will do, what you're gonna bring to the stage, and I know a lot of people like very anticipated about, about that.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's really cool to get the attention of Generation Iron. You know what I mean? I've been watching your films and your website and your coverage of different aspects of the bodybuilding sport and other things as well. So it's really cool to be on this, because
Absolutely, it's a great pleasure to have.
I've never even competed in bodybuilding. I'm on Generation Watch.
Well, listen, you are a part of the fitness industry, and you bring a lot to it. You bring a different angle to it. So I feel like you're always welcome, man.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and if you have any feedback for me and recommendations, I'm all ears. I'm a beginner in this, so I'll take any advice or suggestions you give me. I'm not close-minded in this, so I have a lot to learn.